The brief from a maths team in a school near Loughborough focused on Year 8 topic of space, shape and measures, and in particular they say the difficulty that some students find in looking at scale drawings and bearings, area and perimeter, estimating measures, volume and surface area. As a result of that, the brief that was sketched out for the project focused actually specifically on an employer that the school already had a relationship with, a local civil engineering firm, not a huge company, a company with about a couple of hundred staff. The project that we had in mind looked at a real contract that the company was delivering on. It involved creating a car park for a railway station at Market Harborough and calculating the amount of materials that would need to be removed and the amount of materials that would need to be brought in order to limit the number of trucks that would cause disruption on the surrounding streets. The company and their architects and quantity surveyor provided scale drawings of the site, provided detail of the specification for how that car park would be built, and there were different specifications for different parts of the car park. As part of the resources for the classroom, there was a memo that was put together for the students, essentially summarising what they were being asked to do. And then there were some other resources that accompanied that. So what we're going to look at now is the PowerPoint slides that were used in the classroom, but we're going to hear comments from young people talking about their experience of being involved in this project, starting off with one young man actually describing the project and what was involved.
They came in to...
Who's they?
CR engineers.
CR Civil Engineering, yep.
They came into our school and they did a competition with us a few weeks ago where we had to work out the dimensions of a car park.
Yeah, what are the calculations you had to do?
You had to work out how much material we had to take out of the car park and how much we needed to bring back in.
That's exactly right. And when did you do this? Was it extracurricular in your spare time?
No, it was in the lessons.
It was in maths lessons, wasn't it?
Yes.
So it wasn't, you were going to be in those maths lessons anyway, weren't you?
Yeah.
So it wasn't as if you asked to do something extra.
It just made it more, it showed us how we could use maths in reality.
Okay. Did you think you could use maths in reality?
Yes, but I didn't know you could use it in engineering.
All right, you've discovered that now. What did you discover about CR Civil Engineering that you didn't know?
Well,
Have you heard of them?
Yeah, I have heard of them.
Okay.
But I didn't really know that you could drive lorries and excavators and all that.
So you saw on video is actually showing a wide range of different roles at that one company. It's not just muddy boots, is it?
No.
So how does that change the way you feel about engineering as a possible career for the future?
I feel like I want to try it when I'm older.
Did you think that before you saw all this lot?
No.
Okay, so it's changed the way you think about your future. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. It was your routine maths lessons, wasn't it? You're having to do these calculations. Was it easy? Was it hard? How did you find it?
It was kind of different. So if it was easier or harder, it was still fun, but more fun than a normal maths lesson.
More fun, so your maths lessons aren't necessarily not fun, but what made it more fun?
And we were kind of learning not just maths, but all about careers and engineering as a whole,
Okay.
and the industry.
Yeah, and you found that interesting and enjoyable too. Very often, girls think it's just blokes who do building sites work and things like that. How do you feel about engineering?
You can just involve anyone, no matter what.
Did you think that before you got involved? So what's your view now? If somebody said, what's engineering about, what would you say about the
It could
different
just be
roles?
anyone joining in.
What is it about this project that helped you discover that? Was it when you were doing the project in the classroom or the assembly?
Videos in the assembly.
The assembly particularly. Okay. You've had feedback, didn't you, on your work? Were you in one of the groups that was mentioned?
No.
How do you feel about the fact that you saw those students up at the front? Could have been you, couldn't it?
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
It doesn't matter what set or anything you're in. It doesn't matter if you win or lose.
I enjoyed learning how to be in a group and not arguing with everyone, and we've learned different skills of how to do things.
So you had to do it as a group exercise.
Yeah.
So actually, as well as math skills, you were learning, what other sort of skills would you say you developed?
We were learning different how to be in groups, and when we're older, how to communicate with each other without having to go at each other.
Well described, yeah. Why do you think skills like communication, teamworking are important, both in school and beyond school?
Because tells you what to do and stuff, then you just learn from it, and yeah.
Why do you think that'd be useful when you get a job in the future? I mean, you heard the MD from the company describes some of the things that they're looking for, and it's not just people with qualifications.
Yeah.
So why do you think those kind of skills are useful?
Well, they're used for like, I don't know, really.
Do you think they are needed in the workplace?
Yeah, they're needed.
What are you hoping to do in the future?
Don't know yet.
And how are you going to make a decision? On what basis?
Don't know.
Do you think it would help to have more people like CR Engineering and other companies describing what they do to help you make a decision?
Mm-hmm.
What do you enjoy most about the project?
Well, just working as a team really, and like getting to know people better.
In the class?
Yeah.
I mean, you were in the classroom, it wasn't something extracurricular. So do you not normally get to do that? It's normally
Not really.
individual
So, yeah.
tasks. Yeah. What made this better then?
Like just making it more fun and like more of a reason, like to get more work done.
What would you say to CR Civil Engineering if you could have a chat with them and after what you've learnt, both in the lessons and at the assembly?
Just say as well as like get other, like when we did the car park, do other things as well as a car park. So do like I don't know, just other things as well.
So you're up for doing more things like
Yeah.
this? Do you think it could work in other subjects as well?
Yeah,
Like what?
like probably science, probably to think about all the like the environment around it and thinking about
Applying what
we
you
do.
learn in the classroom,
Yeah.
just as you better apply your maths skills.
Yeah.
So the students completed the challenge and they knew that their work was going to be sent to CR Civil Engineering, who were going to come in and give some feedback. They knew that at the outset, and the work was gathered both in a workbook. They had to complete some of the calculations, and they were given freedom to do some more creative input as well. And in their feedback, you can see here, this is looking across the whole year group, that above all, they felt they did learn something about opportunities beyond life after school. You heard that in the words of some of the students. And perhaps not surprisingly, because they were working in small groups, they learnt some skills in cooperation and team working. And that's reflected in the individual responses from students themselves. You can see in this case, the student is saying that they managed to work as a team and work efficiently, get the answers right, a mixture of things. In this case, the student's acknowledging that the thing they're most proud of was getting the maths correct. So it's not just fun, it's not just developing wider skills, it's also about contributing towards academic attainment and improvement. So the employer did come in right at the end, and we'll hear in a minute from the employer describing that this was the only point at which they came into the school. All the preparation was done while they were in the workplace by email. And at this final point, after the students had done the work on the project, they came in to talk to the students, not only to give feedback, but also to talk about opportunities in the engineering sector. And for the students that had done the best work, judged by this external expert in the subject of engineering, they were invited for a VIP visit on site. So let's hear from the employer and their perspective on the project.
My name's Daniel Akers. I'm a quantity surveyor for CR Civil Engineering.
So what are you doing here in the hall of East Leek Academy?
Trying to convince the younger generation that construction is the way forward.
Well, you've just done that. I mean, this room was filled with 200 Year 8 students. They've all been involved in the maths project.
That's right, yes.
And you helped with that. Just describe what you had to do to help with that, because actually this is the first time you've been into the school.
That's right, that's it. So first time being here. Basically, I've pulled together a live project that we're working on at the minute. I've pulled together some drawings, so you can see some technical drawings. Helped out get some quantities from that, and then gave the students a challenge to find out further quantities from those I've given, to be able to establish truck movements in and out of site. So it's quite a tricky set of maths to sort out.
Oh, it's a quantity surveyor saying it's a tricky set of maths challenges to set a group of students. So what work did you see that they sent back?
So we saw a workbooklet that they've obviously worked out different quantities to get. There's been several steps to get to the ultimate number of lorries in and lorries out. But there's a lot of maths behind that, which we've looked at. They then presented some of these into a poster format, showing sort of bits and pieces on these posters from that workbook, translated into some nice graphics, of which some of them have done further reading of noise impact on local residents,
It's a lot of
some
work,
things-
actually.
There's a lot.
So
there is
you
a bit of
got a
work.
pile of work sent through to you. How
Absolutely.
did you feel when you had to look at it? I mean, did you think, oh my goodness, or did you think, good grief, look at all this?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a mixture. Mixture is like, wow, we're going to get through this now. But then at the same time, it's like, actually, they've all put a lot of effort into this. They've took it quite seriously, which is quite nice to see.
So how do you feel about the fact that actually these year 8 students, as part of their maths lessons, they were in the timetable, their classrooms they'd normally been, had put a pile of work in about a project set by an engineering firm down the road from their school?
Yeah, no, it's quite exhilarating actually. It's nice. It's obviously it's a real world project. It's putting their theoretical maths that they've been learning over the last months, years, and actually putting it into something that is actually real and tangible.
Yeah, which is exactly what they said.
Yeah.
Now, for a lot of them, the idea of engineering or construction might picture in their minds, muddy boots, blokes in a building site, and yet, you're a quantity surveyor, professional guy, qualifications and all the rest, rather different picture. Is that important to get across the message about the range of different roles and the maybe break some of the stereotypes?
Absolutely. There's hundreds of roles in construction, right from the ground up into senior management and anything in between. And if you stick at it and work hard, even the right from the ground jobs are very, very well paid in construction. From apprenticeships until they learn a trade. Once they've got that trade, it's plain sailing.
So it's good for your company to, if you like, promote the different range of roles and opportunities. You're a growing company, you need new staff.
That's it.
What else did you get from doing it? Maybe personally, I mean, was it just a pile of hassle? Was it fun, or how do you describe it?
I thoroughly enjoyed doing this. To be fair, it's good. I enjoy engaging with young people, and
I mean, your managing director said we'd like to be involved. Yes, he said we're privileged to be involved.
Yeah.
We'd like to do it again. Why do you think it's worthwhile for a relatively small 250 SME engineering firm to be involved in this kind of project with a school, a neighbourhood school?
It has two effects. It promotes CRs on its own merit. It also gives back to the community. Everyone's put a lot of effort into building that business up to where it is, and it's nice to give something back and give an insight to where our progress and what we've achieved in the time we've achieved it in.
And it sounds like you personally enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, I've loved it. Yeah, really enjoyed it.